Racing League in the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance. So sorry about the technical difficulties there. That sent us off the air for just a moment. Obviously, we've got inclement weather around the country in the southeast in particular right now. We've got a couple minutes for a pre-race warm-up that's going to give us an opportunity to kind of set up the race a little bit. First of all, it is a preseason race tonight. Points are not on the line. This is for drivers to shake off the rust, but it's also for us to be able to shake off the rust just a little bit, and you've already seen some of that rust coming off. So tonight we mentioned it's only 40 laps. Drivers are going to be out for blood from the very beginning of this race. And every race this season and in the past, we like to give our viewers a couple of stories to follow over the course of the race to maybe add some excitement and for maybe a little bit of focus for you. If you're rooting for maybe a couple of drivers you can keep an eye on, maybe you can follow some stories. The first thing we're going to be talking about, Chris, is there's stiff competition. This might be the toughest field we've seen in Slingshot Racing League in our 6 seasons. We've got four former champions in the field, including Jacob Bradley, who won the championship. It came down to the wire last season in the Apex Energy Series in those Xfinity cars between him and Justin Wilson, who's also another champion who's in the field tonight. We've got Johnny Rapp, who won the last truck championship. And then we've got Aaron Smith, who's a 2-time champion, returning tonight. So this is a tough field, Chris. You got any preseason favorites?
You're really putting me on the spot here. It's going to be tough. I mean, that's one thing that we heard over and over again last week at media night was, these drivers know that the competition is going to be fierce all season. I'm going to go ahead and put my money on the guy who was leading into the last race of our Xfinity Series championship, Justin Wilson. I think he's got something to prove. He was really hot at the end of the season last season, and unfortunately ran into some misfortune in the last race. I'm going to put my money on him this season.
Absolutely. I think that's a safe pick. Lots of safe picks tonight. Also, speaking of safety, we mentioned this is a fast track. Drivers are going to have to kind of keep measured risk versus reward. How aggressive are you, and how early are you going up to the front if you're not starting, in the top 3, top 4, Chris? I know it's a preseason race, but these drivers also want to be careful and make it to the end of the race, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to waste any time tonight. I think tonight I'm going after it from the very beginning. Just 40 laps around here tonight, so hey, let it all hang out. Michigan in these trucks is a lot of fun, as you're going to see. We're going to see these trucks in packs from the very beginning of the race to the end of the race.
And speaking of packs, 2 cars are going to be 2, maybe 3 wide. What impact is different lines going to have on the race tonight? Whether drivers are running low, whether they're running up at the top of the track, what do you expect to see kind of be the favorable position as we move through the evening?
Well, with this oval refresh, hopefully we'll see the trucks spread out throughout the race. I think at the beginning of the race, you're going to see most of the drivers hugging that seam, that bottom seam. It's not going to be the bottom lane, but the next lane up. Seems to be that is the fastest one. It's got a little bit more banking than the bottom lane. So I think that we'll see drivers there at the beginning of the race. But as this track begins to build up temperature and build up rubber, I think that you'll see drivers start to spread out throughout the over all the lanes of the track.
Absolutely. And last thing we'll mention, new vehicle jitters or drivers, we're adapting. We're changing from a car we ran last season that was a little bit faster, maybe a little bit more nimble than the trucks that we're going to be racing this season. We finished that season just about a month ago. So drivers are going to have to adapt to a new vehicle. They're going to have to learn the boundaries of the vehicle. What do you expect? Do you expect drivers to have any issue with that tonight? I know, personally speaking, I found the trucks are a little bit less forgiving with damage. I don't know if that's still the case, maybe with some updates to iRacing, but drivers are going to have to be careful. They're getting close to the wall.
They are, and yeah, the damage is still a little bit finicky on the trucks, but one thing that the trucks are a little bit better at than the Xfinity cars is they're just a lot easier to drive. The Xfinity cars have a lot less downforce, a little bit more power as well. These things have less power, more downforce, create a lot of drag. So you almost feel like Superman in these things compared to the Xfinity cars, where you got to baby those things just a little bit.
Absolutely. Not much babying will probably be going on early tonight in this race. Only 40 laps. It's a short exhibition. Think almost like the Budweiser shootout if you're an older NASCAR fan from the early 2000s. Obviously, we still have the Clash today at the LA Coliseum, but just a way to shake off a little bit of the rust. Coming up here in about, I'm looking at the time clock, about 10 seconds is when we're going to hit the grid. So while we're getting it gridded up, let us know what driver you're pulling for. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch tonight, we appreciate you turning out for this race. I know our drivers are excited to have the fans rooting them on. Let us know in the chat who you're rooting for. Just type their name in the chat. We'll give them a shout out during the race. But before that race starts, we've got to set up the grid. So we're going to take a look at the Evan Pienta Designs starting grid. And on the Evan Pienta Designs poll, Justin Wilson, runner-up in last season's championship race to Jacob Bradley. Justin Wilson is going to earn a point for the Evan Pienta Designs Pole Award competition. Driver with the most poles at the end of the season is going to get a free paint scheme from Evan Pienta. Jacob Bradley, the champion from last season, his Payday Racing teammate's going to be starting on the outside of row number 1 in second place. Jacob Chase, great qualifying effort for the driver, that number 43, going to be starting up in third position. Dustin Scruggs, new to Slingshot Racing League, is going to be starting out in the outside of row 2 in the fourth position. Good looking paint scheme on that number 11. Randy Bechtel going to be starting in the number 51 car on the inside of row number 3. Jeremy Gardner, he had a great run last season. Won a race, I believe, at Las Vegas last season. He's going to be starting 6th. Josh Ward starting 7th in that blue and yellow number 92. Thomas Coonan in the number 86 going to be starting in 8th. Rye Jones starting in the 9th position. Wesley Pistol in that Tennessee Volunteers car going to be starting in the 10th position. The former truck champion from a couple of seasons ago looking to defend that truck title, Johnny Rapp, going to be starting in 11th. Evan Pienta 12th. Chase Berry grabbed a win last season at Bristol. He's going to be starting 13th. Dan Rowe still looking for that first Slingshot Racing win, going to be starting on the 14th position. Steve Speece starting 15th. Raymond Hanneman starting in the 16th position. Lee Campbell's going to be 17th. His teammate Chris Blassie 18th. Jay Leach back for another season in that number 22, going to be starting 19th. Dan Berg going to be starting 20th. We're going to scroll through this rest of the starting lineup on the bottom of the screen as we get geared up here, just about half a lap away from the start of the Sim Racing Concepts Clash here at Michigan. Let us know who you're rooting for in the chat right now. Jeremy Gardner obviously rooting for himself. We've got Stu Vinman pulling for the number 40 truck. Jacob Bradley being rooted on by Steve Bradley in the chat. Got a lot of fans in the chat watching right now. Let us know if you're one of those. Pace car going to peel off. It's going to be Justin Wilson who's going to lead Jacob Bradley and the rest of the field down to the green flag. We are underway here at Michigan. Preseason for Slingshot Racing and the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance is live. Bradley gets a run on the outside. Down into turn 1, it's going to be Dustin Scruggs in that number 11, also on the outside right now. That outside line, Chris, seems to have some momentum going through turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, not surprised at all to see that at the very beginning of the race here. That outside line has a little bit more of a little bit more momentum as you come off the corner, so not surprised at all to see Jacob Bradley jump out to an early lead here.
Yeah, Jeremy Gardner still looking like he's trying to figure out what line he's going to be running, Chris. You mentioned this to me during pre-race. We've got several drivers running towards the middle of the track in almost a kind of a second groove. What's the benefit of not running on the bottom but also not running on the top as we watch the number 11 of Dustin Scruggs make a move on the outside of Justin Wilson in that 58 truck?
Well, if you're down here, you see where Justin Wilson, Jacob Bradley's left side tires are right there on that seam. If you go down a little bit lower than that, you really just bog the truck down. These trucks already have a little bit less horsepower, and so we'll try to keep them wound up a little bit. There's a little bit more banking up there in that second lane, and you can use that extra banking to generate that momentum right there. See some trucks down here in 3 and 4. Justin Wilson not afraid to go down to the very bottom down here in 3 and 4.
I've seen some drivers getting really loose on the inside through some of these corners, Chris, so I think that might keep some of these drivers a little bit higher. Looks like a little train of Slingshot newcomers there with Dustin Scruggs and Thomas Coonan there in second and third place on the outside, making a good run on the outside of Justin Wilson. Meanwhile, look at Josh Ward jumping down there on the inside of the number 5 of Jeremy Gardner. Evan Pienta right behind them. I know Evan Pienta and Jeremy Gardner got collected in a crash on the final lap of a little exhibition race we had last week that we did not broadcast. But right now, Evan Pienta jumping down to the inside, or I should say that middle line under Jeremy Gardner, who's choosing that outside line. He's going to try to make a move on Josh Ward. He's going to close the door on him. Is Ward going to go on the middle is open for Pienta. I thought Ward might make a move to close that gap for just a second, Chris, but Pienta is going to fill that hole in the middle. He's going to take the position on Gardner, who says, get me the heck out of here right now. I'm going to let you guys race this out. The 86 of Thomas Kuhn, meanwhile, still putting up a fight against Justin Wilson and Dustin Scruggs right in front of him. This is some thick racing going on.
It really is, and you're seeing that these guys, they're not holding anything back in the early stages here. They're racing really, really hard from the drop of the green flag, and they're not.
Jones, almost some contact with Jacob Chase there. Sorry about that.
No, that's all good, and Rye Jones back here in the 10th spot. So he's in the middle of this 3-wide situation with Jacob Chase and Wesley Pistol.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, loose on the part of that number 91. He slides up the track in front of, I believe that is Randy Bechtel, who had a front hood view full of the number 91 of Rye Jones. Meanwhile, it looks like Raymond Hanneman, Chris, has started 16th. He's one of our biggest movers in the race so far. He is up to the 11th position right now, working on the inside of Randy Bechtel in that number 85 street limit truck, putting on a good show for his fans, rooting him on in the chat right now. Randy Bechtel, Chris, great Apex Energy Series Xfinity car campaign last season. Came up a couple spots short of the championship, but he's a driver we saw come on really hot and heavy.
Oh, Jacob Chase loose.
Season.
Off
that 43, almost an incident behind him right now. Jones tries to duck to the inside to take evasive action. He thought he was going to have to go to the bottom of the track if Jacob Chase wrecked, so he jumped underneath the number 85 of Raymond Hanneman. I thought we might have had a near incident. Hanneman up into the wall, almost tags it. Got really loose off the corner. Meanwhile, Johnny Rapp right up into the back bumper of his teammate Rye Jones in that number 91. Chris, caution is out on the track right now.
It's like Tony Caputo.
Tony Caputo in the number 40 car.
He is.
Actually, the number 7. My apologies.
Number 7. Yeah, he's around in the infield grass right here. We're going to go back and see if we can see what happened to Tony Caputo.
Oh, Larry Poling got a little bit loose off the corner.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it looks like Larry Poling.
Tony Caputo.
Yeah, it looks like Larry Poling got loose off of. And actually, it looks like there was contact well before that. So, Larry got loose, bounced down into Tony Caputo, and he was just going back and forth trying to save it. Poling into the outside wall. I think that Tony Caputo is going to get away with not too much damage to that Winston Chevrolet. It doesn't look too bad.
It's a good-looking paint scheme for sure.
Yeah, it is. It's a little bit of a throwback.
It is definitely a throwback as we watch Tony Caputo gather back up. Pace car is on the backstretch right now. Chris, what this is going to do, if our fuel calculations are right, it's going to make it so if we were to go caution-free the final 32 laps of this race, drivers would be good on fuel if they were to come down this lap. So,
yeah, they should be able to make it to the end as we ride on board with Tony Caputo going in the spin cycle right here. And he'll be able to put on 4 tires here after sliding around. And, see if our leader, Jacob Bradley, leads a contingent down pit road here. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see everybody come down.
Yeah, these guys have 3 sets of tires to change, so I think that there's not going to really be any fear of using your tires up on such a short race, 40 laps here. And it does look like he's going to bring that contingent of cars down pit road. Long pit road here, pretty fast speed, but drivers are going to have to be careful to stay within the boundaries of the pit road speed limit as they come to the attention of their crews here on lap number 8. I think this might be a good opportunity here in a moment to hear from some of our partners, including our race title sponsor, Sim Racing Concepts.
Our race leader, Jacob Bradley, sorry to interrupt, has some trouble on pit road right there. It looks like he slid a little bit, but he's able to back up pretty fast. Hopefully that doesn't affect his time too much. He might lose the lead here to, it looks like the 58. The 91 actually won the race off pit road. Maybe 2 tires on Rye Jones.
And that's an interesting call. And we do have a nice new pit road graphic, Chris, which is really well done by Pierce Graphics here, that gives our viewers a little bit of opportunity to see how the running order might have changed coming off pit road. And I'm still seeing Justin Wilson out front. I'm not sure if he won the battle off pit road, just hasn't seeded it yet, or if did he stay out?
No, he came down pit road. Everybody
did come down.
Everybody
Okay.
came down. He might have won the race. It was really close between the two of them.
Okay. All right. Well, we were mentioning we're going to take a quick break to hear from our partners at Sim Racing Concepts. We'll be back on the other side of this break. We got to pay the bills real quick. All right, you heard from our partners there at Sim Racing Concepts, and that Sim Racing Concepts Chevrolet truck sitting pretty good right now, Chris. In the 4th position, Jeremy Gardner is up 2 positions after starting in the 6th position. Right now in front of him, though, the biggest mover of the race is Evan Pienta, moved up 9 positions so far, Chris. We talked about drivers getting after it early. That 55 car has had some get up and go, pretty aggressive on the part of Pienta to make as many moves this early in the race as he has. This is exactly kind of what you mentioned. Drivers weren't going to be, they were going to be making haste pretty quickly. Evan Pienta does a lot of great work. A lot of these paint schemes, Chris, that you see on the track right now were designed and created by Evan Pienta for so many of our drivers. We love having him on board as the official paint scheme livery designer for Slingshot Racing. I know our drivers love that too. So let us know what paint scheme you think is the most sharp looking out there as you watch these things go around the track tonight. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to our channel on YouTube yet, go ahead to make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's absolutely free, doesn't cost you a dime, and it helps our channel grow, and it helps you know anytime we put a video out or have a live race going. And speaking of going live, Justin Wilson is going to lead them down here as the pace car pulls off onto pit road. Wilson's going to mash that throttle. He is the leader. We are underway once again here on lap number 11 of 40 in the Sim Racing Concepts Clash for the Apex Energy Truck Series, presented by Hank Thomas Performance. Great big lead, head of steam for Justin Wilson going down into 1. It's Evan Pienta and Rye Jones side by side for 2nd and 3rd. Jacob Bradley and Jeremy Gardner battle it out for 4th position, with Dustin Scruggs and Josh Ward not far behind them. Big old pack. You could throw a blanket over them. 1 through 6 right now. Rye Jones makes a pass to the outside. Meanwhile, Justin Wilson's got to look to his left. He's got Evan Pienta down to the inside. It's a battle for the lead coming off of turn 4. They're on the front straight, about to finish lap number 11. Who's going to lead it? It looks like it's going to be Wilson at the line.
And you saw a lot of bump drafting down the backstretch there. That's something that you'll see at this track, especially in these big packs like this, as Evan Pienta's going to drive it on into turn 1 and take the lead.
That was a power move. We got some power moves going on right behind them, though. Oh, almost a crash between Jacob Bradley and the number 86 of Thomas Coonan. Very close battle going on there for 5th position. Coonan on the inside. Jacob Bradley and Coonan almost came to blows there on the exit of turn 2, Chris. We almost had a crash that would have taken out probably a large portion of the field. They're still working on it, though, is Thomas Coonan not giving Jacob Bradley any room on the outside line there. That's the danger of running outside off the corner, though, as we watch these cars head to tail here, the 91, the 50, and the number 5.
Yeah, we're riding on board right there with Rye Jones looking back at Jacob Bradley. Here comes Coonan to the inside. Thomas Coonan looking to take that 3rd spot here.
Thomas Coonan making some power moves. He's up 5 positions on the evening, trying to hold that inside line right now against a charging Rye Jones as they head down into turn number 3. Jones a little bit loose, shakes his car up to the track. He's going to give up a lot of positions as they exit turn number 3. He's going to give up 1, 2, maybe 3. Meanwhile, we've got a battle for the lead at the line. Justin Wilson goes back by Evan Pienta in that number 55, almost an identical manner to how Evan Pienta passed Justin Wilson just a couple of laps ago as the leaders head down into turn 1. Pienta on the outside, Justin Wilson in that teal and white and purple truck on the inside. Meanwhile, Jacob Bradley going to jump up, or jump down rather, to the inside to see if he can make a pass on Thomas Coonan. Chris, who's working that outside line. Oh, almost a contact back further, back around 8th or 9th position, right behind them. Ryan Jones,
Pistol.
Evan Pienta, several cars. Looks like the 11 of Dustin Scruggs on pit road. Several cars come under contact. Yellow flag is out. Gonna have to go back and take a look because I saw a couple wrecks happening all at once, Chris, and they weren't in the same spot on the track. So looks to me like Evan Pienta went around and also Wesley Pistol went around, maybe trying to avoid what was happening in front of him. Let's go return to the scene of the crime to see if we can find out what actually happened here on lap number 15 of 40 in the Sim Racing Concepts Clash.
Yeah, it's going to take just a second to do this. Wesley Pistol was the first one that we saw go around right there. The order was kind of moving around just a little bit there. So we'll go back right here and see. I noticed Josh Ward make a move to the inside right here, 3 wide. Wesley got a little bit loose right there. Oh, we see several cars loose.
Yeah,
Evan Pienta.
Here's what happened. Yeah, Evan Pienta was loose halfway through the corner, and I think what happened is that 7 of Wesley Pistol checked up a little bit and had a car get into the back of him.
Yeah, it looks like there was, just a couple of incidents there, more than one. So, yeah, we'll actually go back to the very beginning of this. Yeah, we missed it there just a little bit, but Evan Pienta is around there. It looks like he's loose on the entry. He's fighting it, corrects. Right there in front of Thomas Coonan. Thomas Coonan tries to do everything he can to miss him. Dustin Scruggs spins around after a little bit of contact. I saw him, I think it was him that spun down pit road right there. I don't think the damage is too significant for him. We're actually right on board with him here.
And he did get a black flag cleared for entering the pit, probably an unsafe pit entry. He did get the black flag cleared, though, for Dustin Scruggs as we ride on board with him here.
Yeah, and he goes down pit road right here. Does a nice job of keeping it under control.
Yeah, does a really good job in that McConey setup shop truck. Scruggs had a really good run going until that lap number 15 crash that, Chris, I think we got a little bit lucky. We could have had a lot more cars incur some serious damage there than we actually did. I think a lot of drivers walked away from that. And we will remind the viewers at home that during the regular season, drivers do not have a quick repair, meaning if they incur any damage, they have to spend the time that it requires to get it fixed on pit road. Tonight, however, since it is a fun exhibition race to open up the season, we did give them a quick repair. Imagine a few drivers might be taking that one right here, Chris. But the beneficiary of all of this, I'm looking to see if we had any drivers. We had several drivers come down pit road, but we had several drivers stay out on that cycle of pit stops. Johnny Rapp, Brady Floyd, a slingshot newcomer in that number 20 car, is out in actually the number 53 car, I believe, is scored in second place. Daniel Rowe is going to be in the third place. Jacob Chase in fourth. Wesley Pistol in fifth. Chase Berry sixth. Hannah Mann also stayed out, along with Leach, DeCesare, Patrick O'Toole, and Dan Berg. So about the first 10 cars or so, Chris, stayed out. And I'm looking at tires. They're on 8-lap-old tires. What do you think that's going to do for this restart in terms of having some comers and goers and some faster cars a little bit further back in the pack?
Yeah, I think that you'll see those guys coming up through the field. I don't think it's enough of a difference in tires to make a huge difference. Riding on board right there with slingshot newcomer Brady Floyd. You can see on Johnny Rapp's spoiler, he's making it very clear and known that today is not his birthday. But yeah, it is. You're gonna see some comers and goers here once we get back going. I'm gonna have my eyes around that 14th position where Jeremy Gardner, Justin Wilson, Jacob Bradley are going to be restarting. It's probably going to be wild in that area.
It is probably going to be wild. And, hey, that was a wild ride for the 11 of Dustin Scruggs down pit road trying to avoid that crash. Don in the chat asked, how do you get a black flag for a crash sending you to pit road? Don, it's just iRacing rules that if you enter the pits unsafely by going over the speed limit, you get a black flag. But obviously our race director, Sam Maxwell, has the ability to clear those. We don't want any driver to suffer a black flag for having to take evasive action or maybe, adding insult to injury like that in that situation. So that black flag was cleared. And right now, Johnny Rapp, I know John Rapp's in the chat watching. We'll say hey to him in a second. But Johnny Rapp is going to be looking to get clear of Brady Floyd right now on the restart lap number 17, now 18 of 40. We're back underway here for the Sim Racing Concepts Clash. That 53 of Brady Floyd closes the door on Dan Rowe in that Rainbow Warrior paint scheme in that number 68 car, Chris. That was an aggressive move early that I think we probably might only see in these exhibition races like that. That was an aggressive move, and you see that the 68 of Dan Rowe definitely let off the throttle a little bit, but right now the 53 is going to channel a great run off the corner onto the inside underneath the race leader Johnny Rapp, and Brady Floyd is now the leader. He gets loose. He barely misses Dan Rowe. The 68 3 wide off the corner. How did we avoid a crash there on the front straightaway? Hell of a save by a couple of those drivers. We saw the 53 get really loose, and that could have been a catastrophic wreck, Chris. Wow, great car control on display there from the driver of the number 53, Brady Floyd there, Chris. One of our new slingshot drivers. I'm still, learning the numbers in the cars as we get the season underway here.
Yeah, great save, and that could have been disastrous right there in front of the whole field. Right now, this guy right here in that number 5 Sim Racing Concept Chevy, he is flying up through the field right here on the bottom. He is passing them where nobody's passed them really all night, down there on that extreme bottom lane. He's basically going where they ain't, and he's coming up through the field pretty fast. And I think these guys are going to
have on the wall. Looks like Jacob Bradley's going to be one of the cars further back. We've got a caution, caution is out on lap 20. Several cars getting damage on this one. Several cars going around. I see teammates Chris Blassie and Lee Campbell. Looks like Patrick O'Toole might be in this one as well. Several cars go around. We're going to return to the scene of the crime here on lap number 20 of 40 and see if we can figure out what exactly happened.
So, looks like some contact right there between Dan Berg and Jacob Bradley is what initiates this. Why don't you try to look at this from overhead? I don't know if there was net code. Oh, yeah, might have been a little bit of net code right there. Those guys were running pretty close together. We'll actually see if we can follow on board with the drivers that were behind this. Maybe they'll give us a better perspective. That looks like the number 9 of Patrick Colby. Maybe Patrick's got a pretty good view of this. Yeah, it looks like both those guys were kind of moving towards each other a little bit. The 2 was moving down up off the wall. Jacob Bradley was trying to get the arc for the corner right there, and they just met with maybe a little bit of net code. That's one of those racing deals there, unfortunately.
As Bill Elliott said, one of those racing deals, right?
That's right. That's right.
I don't have that Georgia accent down, but looks like maybe a little bit of net code. 2 cars looking at the same space, and obviously that is never going to work out well. Just checking in right now under caution. Johnny Rapp is your leader here in the Slingshot Racing League in the Apex Energy Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance. While we watch a couple of replays of this wreck, let's go ahead and talk about Hank Thomas Performance. If you've been watching Slingshot Racing for a minute, you know this is a new partner for us. They've come on in a big way as our presenting partner this season. Hank Thomas Performance is a Sunoco race fuel master distributor located in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Their territory covers North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, as well as the panhandle of Florida, providing quality Sunoco race fuel to many tracks and dealers throughout the region. Chris, I know they're the official fuel supplier of Five Flag Speedway, which is where the Snowball Derby is held every year in Pensacola, Florida. In addition to Sunoco race fuels, HTP distributes high-quality methanol and track supplies, gas containers, and pretty much any everyday product that real-life racers are going to want and need as they compete at their local asphalt and dirt ovals as well as drag strips. We're glad to have Hank Thomas Performance on this season, and we appreciate their support. You can reach them at 800-848 Hank. Or if you're in the Winston-Salem area, go pay them a visit at their shop. They would love to see you, and we're super proud to have them on board as the official fuel supplier of Slingshot Racing League. A little bit of tongue-in-cheek there, as we don't use real race fuel, but we do have several guys in our community who race in real life. And I know we've got probably a couple fans watching, too, who are real-life racers. So if you are in the Southeast, we encourage you to check out Hank Thomas Performance and show our partners a little bit of love. So, Chris, I don't know if we'll ever be able to get in a real car, but if maybe there's a chance one day. One can hope. So, and I would definitely use Sunoco race fuels from Hank Thomas Performance in it. All right, so
absolutely. Do you think Nick DeCesare uses Sunoco race fuel from Hank Thomas Performance?
I think you are probably correct in that assertion that the driver of the 00, that Sunoco Hank Thomas Performance truck, definitely has some Sunoco in that tank tonight. Currently, Nick DeCesare running in the 23rd position. He's moved up 7 positions after starting 30th on the field tonight. So great job for Nick. I know we've got some DeCesare and Kuntz fans watching in the chat. Right now, the drivers are headed down the backstretch, exiting turn 2 right now. We're going to be getting ready for a restart that's going to leave us with about 18 laps to go or so. And as drivers head down the backstretch, watching on board there with a couple of drivers, do want to give a quick shout out to John Rapp, who's in the chat watching right now, rooting on his son Johnny. I know John's been going through some difficult times in the past couple of months. We are glad he is watching, and we are super proud to have him on as a fan. And hey, buddy, we appreciate you, and we hope that you're feeling better and get a little bit better each day. So I know Absolutely. It's tough living with Johnny Rapp in the house, but one can only hope that he'll go out there and get you a good finish tonight. So drivers headed out, and by the way, Brittany Rapp says she's here too, so she's rooting on Johnny as well. Pace car pulls off, and if you're a Jacob Chase fan, you're going to be happy to know he is your leader. He's going to be bringing us down for the restart here on lap number 24. Hits the throttle. We are underway once again for Slingshot Racing League here at Michigan in the Sim Racing Concepts Clash. And that Sim Racing Concepts car is coming fast on the back bumper of Jacob Chase, just about a car length. Now, no car lengths separate them. That 5 car of Jeremy Gardner is looking on the inside, Chris. You mentioned it. He's going where no other truck is tonight, and he channels that into a pass for the lead here on lap 24. Caution in the back. Several cars spinning down the backstretch right now, trying to get a better view of that. Caution is out, once again tonight.
Yeah, I think that Patrick O'Toole was one car that I saw turn around. Patrick O'Toole was trying to get it righted right here. We'll follow him here and see if maybe he was somewhere.
I think that was a reaction to something else that might have been going on. We had a big old gaggle of them.
Oh, yeah.
Paul Thomas on the outside. It looks like it might have been Larry Poling and Lee Campbell. Lee Campbell went up the track, Chris, and this is almost identical to that crash we saw about 7 or 8 laps ago, where 2 cars kind of fighting for the same position. Neither one necessarily is overtly in the wrong here. Maybe a little bit of netcode involved. So kind of a difficult circumstance for these 2 drivers off of turn 2.
Yeah, we'll watch right here, and I think that maybe what Larry or what Lee Campbell expected right here is for Larry Poling to stay out towards the wall here on corner exit. And it looks like, if you watch the lines in the track, it looks like Larry does not quite go out to the wall there. He wanders down a little bit, and Lee Campbell is just running his line that he expects Larry Poling to go out to the wall, and unfortunately they meet. That's a little bit of netcode involved in that one as well.
Little bit of netcode. Been a bit of a stormy night here on track. I think on average we're used to running maybe 2 cautions per race, sometimes 3, Chris. Tonight, though, it's preseason. We're shaking off the rust. Like we said in the title of our video here, drivers are not immune to making mistakes, as we've seen early on in this race. 26 laps of 40 completed. It's also a stormy night across America in several parts of the country. We hope you're staying safe out there if you are watching Green or yellow? Green or yellow? Let us know what you think in the caution. Right now, Jeremy Gardner is your leader in that Sim Racing Concepts truck. Jacob Chase second. Wesley Pistol, we haven't mentioned the driver of that number 7 car much tonight, but Wesley Pistol in that Tennessee Volunteers truck, good job running in third place. He's up 7 positions on the night, Chris. We talked about Wesley really struggling to do well in qualifying in the Xfinity Series. He could work his way up over the course of the race. Right now, started 10th, so not a bad qualifying effort for Wesley compared to what we saw from him last season. A very capable driver. Looking to see good things out of him this season, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one that I feel like these races where we go green for a long time and they're more rhythm style tracks. He brought up Darlington on media night that felt like he was really good there, and I feel like those are really like in his wheelhouse. Tonight, maybe not so much with all these cautions right here, but he's proven he can still get the job done here. He's up in the 3rd spot, so be interested to see how this season shakes out for him. If those qualifying runs are a little bit better, I think he'll be a championship contender possibly.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some strong runs out of him. Right now, making sure that I'm caught up correctly, looks like we're going to be getting ready for the green flag, meaning it's going to be about a 13-lap shootout here. Drivers headed down the backstretch. Gardner's your leader, Jacob Chase second, Wesley Pistol third. Raymond Hanneman, Chris, he's doing a good job hanging out here in the 4th position with his teammate Thomas Coonan right behind him, 85 and 86. 4th and 5th right now, both slingshot newcomers. We've seen Raymond Hanneman run with us in our Super Speedway Fall Classic over the course of a couple months during the fall. Had some good runs in that series. Looking to channel that into a successful truck campaign here. We're looking to see both of those guys have a good season. Justin Wilson in 6th, Chase Berry in 7th. Another new driver to slingshot, Brady Floyd, Chris, running in the 7th position. So lots of newcomers up here tonight. Good to see that.
Absolutely. Love seeing these newcomers up there. Love seeing also Jacob Chase running so well tonight. It's one of his best slingshot runs ever.
It's definitely one of that number 43's best runs so far. He's going to have to deal with Jeremy Gardner, who is the control car on this restart. He hits the Geico restart zone, which means go, and he jumps out to a big lead. About 2 or 3 car lengths separate first, now second. Wesley Pistol. Jacob Chase still trying to get his momentum and rhythm on the outside. He's got the teammates of Coonan and Hanneman on his outside. Coonan rather, is going to jump to the inside. And it looks like Jacob Chase struggling a little bit on that restart. He's got to deal with Justin Wilson to his inside. Now 3 wide down the backstretch. Chase Berry being pushed with a head of steam from the 91 of Rye Jones. He's going to fill the middle right behind Jacob Chase. 3 wide. This is a battle for the 7th or 8th position. Coonan and Pistol come in contact with each other. Close one. 3 wide down the front stretch. Pistol, Coonan, and Justin Wilson fight for 2nd place as they head down into 1. 2 battles of 3 wide. The 53, the 91, and now the 85 on the outside further back, Chris. Drivers are not letting up here with just about 13 laps to go. Now 12 laps to go.
Rye
Jones off the corner. Is he going to hang on to it? No, he's going to hit Evan Pienta and Josh Ward. Down the backstretch, several cars get involved in that one. Rye Jones loose as calamity ensues here on lap number 29.
Wow.
Going to head back to the scene of the crime to take a look at that one.
Yeah, we'll go back here, and it started with Rye Jones in the 91. He was 3 wide right here between Jacob Chase and, it looks like Brady Floyd was moving up right there, and Rye Jones was trying to give Brady room. They were 3 wide, and that was cutting it a little bit too close right there. Rye Jones was trying to do everything he could to keep from wrecking or from, causing the 53 to spin right there, and, spun himself. And unfortunately, as he was correcting it, Evan Pienta, he catches Evan Pienta, Josh Ward as well. Actually right on board with Evan Pienta, or follow him right here. You can see how when the contact between he and Jones knocks him down over into Josh Ward. And unfortunately, Jay Leach was caught up in that as well. I think that he didn't expect the 92 to go quite down that far to the inside. So a lot of guys unfortunately caught up in that mayhem. A lot of mayhem tonight here in the Sim Racing Concepts Clash.
Yeah, one car that I thought was going to make it through, Patrick O'Toole, looks like he just could not get slowed down enough in that 44. Kind of a similar situation to what we saw from Jay Leach there, right behind Jay. Just going maybe at a slower rate of speed in that number 44. I think he made a little bit of contact with one of those cars down on the inside of the apron. I believe it might have been Ryan Jones. He just kept coming down the track a little bit. So several cars incurring damage here on this lap number 30 incident. This is going to lead us with just a handful of laps left in Chris, race control update. Brady Floyd in the number 53 was given the black flag penalty in the EOL. What we have our race controller do, just for fans watching, if you are the responsible party for a crash, we kind of go short track style and give an EOL to the driver that is deemed responsible for the crash. And right now, on this lap number 30 crash, that's going to be Brady Floyd in the 53. You can see our race controller update there up top, and EOL has been issued by Sam Maxwell, our race controller. So nice to have that little feature so we can keep our fans up to date with what's going on with the race control and black flags. Looking at right now on-track action, I'm not sure if we had any pit stops this time by or not. We did or we did not?
We did. It looks like Jeremy Gardner, back here in about the 14th position, he decided to come down pit road. I think that Jeremy is feeling really confident in his ability to drive up through the field after that display earlier.
Especially on these fresh tires, I think this is probably a good call. He's going to be restarting somewhere around the 13th or 14th position, like you mentioned, and I think he's probably going to go where everyone is not going. He's going to take up that empty space on track. I almost see him getting to the back of the number 7 truck there for a moment, but this is going to leave us with about an 8-lap shootout. And for all the people that thought we were not going to make it the rest of the way without a caution, you are proven correct. Chris, let's go ahead and take an opportunity to hear from our other primary partner for this series and a longtime partner. 6 seasons, Apex Energy has been supporting Slingshot Racing League. We might have to hear from them in a moment because we are lining up to go green, and we want to make sure we do them justice. But we'll just talk about them for a second. Apex Energy, they've got a new line of products coming to the market here, hopefully next month in February or early March. We're excited to help share those. But, you know, we can't say thank you enough to our partners over at Apex. It's a great product, and we can't wait to get more in stock. But 6 seasons, you don't really see that often. I know this is sim racing, but loyalty is something that's huge to us, and we're super proud to have them back on board. I know several of our fans and drivers have been users of that Apex Energy product in the past. I know they'll continue to be in the future. It's just a great kind of supplement to give you a boost of energy throughout your day, whether you're going to a workout or you're just trying to make it through the workday. So right now, several of these drivers, Chris, are going to be making sure they wish they had their Apex Energy on hand because it's just going to be an 8-lap shootout. Wesley Pistol, Jacob Chase, and a couple of newcomers into the top 5, Chris. Patrick Colby and Sean Johnson, Dustin Scruggs, and Scotty Sobzak have also joined these guys up here. It's going to be Pistol who's going to get us going here. Once he enters that Geico restart zone, he can go green. He mashes that throttle late in the zone. We are underway. Jacob Chase a little bit slow on that restart once again. This time is going to leave the door open for Patrick Colby in the 9, who's going to jump to the inside. Meanwhile, Sean Johnson and Dustin Scruggs battle it out for the 5th position right now. Scruggs on the inside, Sean Johnson in that RC Cola truck on the outside. Right now, Patrick Colby working on getting to the outside of Wesley Pistol. He's got a strong run. I don't know if it's going to get on the outside. Car sideways. Yellow flag is out once again here at Michigan, Chris. These drivers are making some super aggressive moves tonight. They really want to win this kind of preseason opener. We're going to have to go take a look at what happened. I think it might have been Chase Berry in the number 46 truck that might have brought that caution out. Oh, no, it was actually in front of him.
Tony Caputo, I think, in the 7. Here he is in the middle, 3 wide. This is not a good camera. Oh, something happened.
Yeah, I have a little bit of in and out on that number 7.
Yeah, we'll see if, it looked like maybe a connection.
And I think he got number 86.
Yeah, a little bit of a connection issue right there. Oh, yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yeah, well, look right
And
here
that
at the number 86 of Thomas. That's super unfortunate. He was second off pit road of all those guys on new tires there. But yeah, it disappeared, just a connection flash. And sometimes that happens in iRacing. And man, it's been a tough night for Tony Caputo. Been involved in
it has.
yeah, a few
A
incidents here
couple of
tonight.
incidents earlier on in the evening. Obviously, this one, no fault of his own with the internet connection issue,
Yep.
but tell that to Thomas Coonan in the 86, who's going to be taken out because of that. And I believe that's going to be an EOL administered to the number 7 of Tony Caputo. Obviously, the netcode issue bringing that caution out as we watch 86 of Thomas Coonan drive around. He might have not used his quick repair yet, though, so that might be his saving grace. I can't tell from my end right now if he's used it, but we're going to be finding out here momentarily. A couple cars takers on pit road. But, Chris, this puts Wesley Pistol in a good position. He's looking for these caution laps because the fewer laps he has to defend against Patrick Colby and Jacob Chase, as well as Dustin Scruggs and Sean Johnson, probably the better in his mind. So right now I suspect it's going to be a 4-lap shootout. Right now we're on lap number 35. Watch out, Larry Bowling coming there to take the lucky dog as Justin Wilson kind of weaves and bobs to get those tires warmed up.
Yeah, and as we see right there on the current stint laps right here, Wesley Pistol, Jacob Chase both came down pit road 26 laps ago. Patrick Colby has slightly fresher tires. The advantage isn't really there, I don't think, like it would have been before because of all these caution laps we run. Where the advantage comes in is back here in the back around the 12th position where Jeremy Gardner is, who has just got 4 laps on these tires. Really, no laps, no green flag laps other than half a lap. And Justin Wilson, Chase Berry, those guys. So, unfortunately for those guys, though, I just don't know if they got the laps to get up through the field like they need to.
Yeah, I think had that caution not come out, I think drivers like Jeremy Gardner are probably sitting in a pretty good position. But the more laps that go by, Wesley Pistol, Patrick Colby, Jacob Chase. Chase and Pistol are sitting on 26-lap old tires. So they've only, I believe, had one pit stop this entire race, Chris. So they've kind of worked their way up through the field here on pit strategy and just keeping that track position. So they've only got to have about 4 laps left to defend here. Coming to a close in the Sim Racing Concepts Clash for Slingshot Racing League in the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance. I'm Ellis Thomas in the booth tonight, joined by Chris Smith, bringing you this live racing action. We appreciate everyone tuning in. We've got some Patrick Colby fans. Don, we are so glad that you are back for another season, a staple in the YouTube chat. We are indebted to you for just your constant support. We got Julie in the chat as well. Hello there. Ben Keast is in the chat rooting on Jacob Chase. Good friends with each other. John Rapp, a couple other drivers in here. Stu Vinman, we're glad to see him rooting on the number 42. Several new faces in the chat tonight. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Right now, drivers on the backstretch working their way towards the closing stage here of this race. Wesley Pistol's your leader, Patrick Colby second, Jacob Chase third, Dustin Scruggs, who took that wild ride down pit road earlier in the race, is fourth. Yeah. And hey, Johnny Rapp is up to the 5th position right now.
Some nice recoveries.
6th. Yeah, very good recoveries for several drivers running into issues earlier in the race. We've got a lot of drivers who haven't had a Slingshot Racing League win yet, going to be hungry for one. Hungriest is probably going to be Jacob Chase. He definitely hasn't had a win ever. It's been a while since Wesley and Pistol and Patrick Colby won. Pistol's going to be the control car. Geico restart zone underway again here at Michigan. Wesley Pistol, Chris, nice jump on the lead. Couple of cars come in contact with each other. Stack up. Once again, Chris, I'm a little bit surprised we've seen as many issues as we have tonight.
Yeah, we normally don't see this here in Slingshot Racing League. It's probably been since the beginning of last season since we saw something like this. We'll try to watch from overhead to see if we can see. I saw Josh Ward get turned around. It looked like the stack up was, I don't know if it was guys trying to anticipate or we'll actually go and I'll try to watch a little bit further ahead right here. Lee Campbell into the back of Steve Spees. Oh, yeah. It was like Chase Berry got into the back of Lee Campbell. Lee Campbell bounced off the rear bumper of Steve Spieth. Then he got off the gas. Chase Berry got into the back of him, hooked him, and there's just a stack up from there. Randy Bechtel, Josh Ward.
I think the original stack up was with the 32, Chris, of Sean Johnson. I'm looking just for the closest gap. Running around 6th or 7th at the time. I think that got Scotty Sobczak checked up. I think that made Nick DeCesare check up, which led to Steve Spieth checking up, and kind of one thing led to another. Yeah, so complicated race for several drivers tonight here. We're going to have a green-white checker, and I think a lot of these drivers are just going to be ready to get this one over tonight. It is an exhibition. It's a preseason race, so we expect drivers to take maybe some risks that they wouldn't take during the regular season, and we've definitely mentioned that. We mentioned in pre-race that this is a fast track, so a minor mistake could be compounded very quickly, and we've seen that play out over the course of some of these restarts and the laps ensuing. Looks like I'm seeing if we're handing out a penalty for this one. I'm not sure if the EOL has been handed down by our race controller, Sam Maxwell, yet. But what I can tell you is that right now, Johnny Rapp and Jacob Bradley are sitting in a pretty good position, Chris. They've got the freshest tires kind of up at the front of the field right now. Rapp and Bradley sitting on 17-lap-old tires. And Pistol, again, this thing is playing out the way we had kind of mentioned that Wesley Pistol would be hoping it would. Caution after caution, giving him that track position. He's going to have to spend less and less time defending that lead tonight in that number 7 truck. So right now, things playing out to his advantage, but this thing isn't won yet. He's going to have to worry about several drivers. Patrick Colby's not going to let him go. We've got some aggressive drivers up here. They're not going to let Wesley Pistol get too far out in front, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think that's going to be something that, if Wesley Pistol does get a little bit of a gap on these guys right here, will we see a big draft effect? We talk about, you don't want to get too far out in front. I don't know that there's much that you can really do to avoid that here in these trucks, because just the hole that these trucks punch in the air is so massive. They can generate some big runs, and by this stage in the race, these drivers are kind of comfortable with running all over the track, running in multiple different lanes. So if I'm Wesley Pistol, I like where I'm at. I really do, because I want to make them have to go around me. I want to be the leader here. I feel very strongly about that, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be really hard, especially if those guys right there, about 5th, 6th, if they're able to get around this row in front of them. Wesley might have his hands full here.
I think he's definitely going to have his hands full. Whether he's able to deal with it and come out on top remains to be seen. We're going to find out in about 2 laps. Green flag coming out half a lap from now. Drivers side by side, 2 wide, gearing up for the restart here at Michigan for Slingshot Racing League and the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance. Who's going to win the Sim Racing Concepts Clash? It's going to be a wild one, Chris. I'm sure we're going to have some nice highlights to come out of this one. I do want to throw a couple mentions out there. Patrick Colby up 23 positions on the night. Sean Johnson running in 7th. He's up 20 positions. Matt Kuntz and Nick DeCesare up 17 positions and 20 positions, respectively. So a lot of drivers kind of working their way through the field, benefiting from maybe a little bit of attrition here to put themselves in pretty strong positions here at the end of the race. Looks like we're going to delay the green by 1 lap. I think our race controller, Sam Maxwell, is wanting to make sure that everyone is lined up in order. Great question in the chat right now. Don Hilbrun says, how many green-white checkers are there? We have two green-white checkers on the night, Don. They get 2 attempts. Yep,
that's right. 2 attempts at a green-white checkered. So, we'll hopefully it just takes one. Hopefully it just takes one to decide the winner.
Got a couple things, Chris. Development from that caution, a couple of EOLs being handed out. Looks like Josh Ward in the 92, as well as Lee Campbell given EOLs by race director Sam Maxwell there for that lap number 38 caution involving several cars right now. Working our way around one more time before we take the green flag. Wesley Pistol looking to hold off Patrick Colby, Jacob Chase, Dustin Scruggs, Johnny Rapp, and several other Slingshot Racing drivers. I don't think we've seen the mayhem come to an end tonight, Chris. I think we're just hoping drivers can make it to the white flag before we have a caution come out. If they make it to the white, they will race back to the checkered flag, and we'll determine a winner under green flag circumstances.
Hey,
so I think that's the goal.
That'll be an improvement over the last couple of restarts if we just go one lap. So,
yeah, we've had, I think, a couple of stack-ups. Drivers may be anticipating. Maybe I think we might have had a missed shift on the last restart based on what I saw. But right now, Sam Maxwell making sure these drivers are ready to go here. A few words of encouragement on the radio, maybe coming from the race director, maybe encouraging these drivers just to try to make it to the end. With a little bit of mutual respect and competitive respect for each other. Wesley Pistol and Patrick Colby going to be fighting it out here, Chris. Just 2 laps to go. Green, white, checkered. We're getting ready for the green. Pace car is off. Pistol is in the Geico restart zone. We're back underway. Pistol, nice run down into turn 1. He's got a clear lead, about 2 car lengths. Now 3 separate first from second place Patrick Colby and Jacob Chase in third, along with Dustin Scruggs and Jacob Bradley. Couple of cars side by side through turn 3. We got to make it half a lap to get to the white flag. 4 wide behind the leaders, Chris. Now 5 wide down the back
contact.
stretch. They're going to be in contact with each other. Can they stay out of the fence? It looks like we're going to avoid calamity for now, but several cars going to be trying to get to the outside right now. Patrick Colby has a head of steam coming off of turn 4. Is he going to try to make a duck to the bottom? I don't think he's got room. He's to the outside. Johnny Rapp with a head of steam down to the inside. Is he going to have a shot at this one? Colby to the outside. Pistol on the inside. They head down into turn 1. 1 lap left. Newcomer Dustin Scruggs on the outside. Johnny Rapp now on the inside. Colby still neck and neck with Wesley Pistol. He's got Dustin Scruggs pushing from behind. He's got help in his rear view mirror. Pistol has nobody. Jacob Chase about a car length back now. He's going to have to deal with Justin Wilson. Patrick Colby to the outside. Pistol's going to make one last-ditch effort. Scruggs to the outside now. Pistol on the inside. 4 wide coming to the line. Colby and Pistol get into it. Justin Wilson is going to win it at the line here at Michigan in the Sim Racing Concepts Clash for Slingshot Racing League. Wow.
What a race to the line right there. Jacob Chase and Dustin Scruggs rounding out the podium. Great runs for those guys, too. Heartache right there for Patrick Colby and Wesley Pistol off of turn 4.
Yeah, that was just a close race off of turn 4. I think Wesley Pistol came up, and I think this was similar, kind of, Chris, to what we've seen all night, where cars are coming up and the cars to the outside. Obviously, Patrick Colby has no obligation to move his car further up the track, right? But I think Pistol kind of had that expectation, and as a result, when Patrick Colby doesn't necessarily do that, he's going to want to hold Pistol tight. Those cars come in contact, and it opens up the door for Justin Wilson to make the pass. And I believe Jacob Chase got the finish by about 2 inches over the 11 of Dustin Scruggs there.
Yeah, that's just tough racing right there. And, yeah, you know, Dustin Scruggs to the outside of Patrick Colby. Wesley Pistol, yeah, just a little bit of movement right there. And both of them come together. Yeah, I hate that for those guys.
So a really crazy finish for what was, I think, a bit of a crazier race, Chris, than I expected. Yeah. We titled this race "Shaking Off the Rust" on YouTube, but I don't expect we saw as much rust as we saw here in Detroit, which, you know, ironically is a rusty city. In the Rust Belt of America, it was definitely some rust tonight. So we're going to hear from our top 3 finishers, Dustin Scruggs, Jacob Chase, and winner Justin Wilson here in a moment. We're going to make sure we get them into the voice chat momentarily. Give us a second to see if we can make that happen. We'll bring those interviews to you as soon as we get that. All right, give me 1 second. I'm looking for these drivers. Let's go ahead and hear from our partners at Apex Energy as we try to get these drivers in the chat here for just a moment. We'll hear a word from our partners. We'll be back on the other end of this break.
Are you looking for high-quality, affordable sim racing paint schemes and graphics? Then look no further than Evan at Evan Pienta Designs. Driven by speed, Evan Pienta Designs offers a multitude of sim racing graphics, from liveries to social media graphics to team and series logos. To see some of the work done by Evan, or even race one of the public liveries he's made, head on over to tradingpaints.com and search Evan Pienta.
Dustin Scruggs, driver of the number 11. You got a copy. This is Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth.
Loud and clear.
Hey man, Dustin, we're excited to have you in Slingshot Racing League. Man, first race with us, and it was a wild one. We talked about in the broadcast, we usually average 1 to 2 cautions per race. We definitely saw a little bit more carnage tonight than we are used to. We saw you take a wild ride down pit road earlier in the race. Talk about the experience that you had just kind of navigating your way through some wild pack racing tonight. What did it feel like out there for 40 laps?
Yeah, it felt pretty good. I mean, it seems like the league's pretty organized and structured, and everybody's racing out there pretty clean. I'd like to note that I did crash through the pit lane without hitting anything. So
that was impressive. We saw that. We were like, man, that was, I think he avoided any damage. We were glad
I had
that you got your
0
black flag
seconds.
cleared.
0 seconds of damage, nothing.
That is impressive, and you worked your way back from a little bit of adversity over the course of the race. I know you probably had the help of a little bit of attrition from several other drivers, but does this translate into next week at Auto Club at all? I know they're similar tracks, but they're also very different. Did you learn anything you can take into next week?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a race of attrition tonight. Auto Club usually doesn't have as many cautions as Michigan, so hopefully it's a little cleaner. It's a little harder on the tires, in my opinion. But yeah, kind of same deal, pack racing and, all out gas.
Awesome, man. Well, I think next week you'll probably see a lot less cautions just by the nature of a regular season race. So not saying that we won't have any, but I think it'll be a cleaner show than tonight, man. Before we let you go, any shout-outs that you would like to give tonight on the broadcast?
Yeah, sure. Got to thank my sponsor, McConey Setup Shop, Prosper Engineering, Carpet Express, Ohana Mountain Farms. Those guys always support me in all these leagues that I do, and I appreciate it.
Awesome. Dustin Scruggs in the number 11. Third place finisher tonight in the Sim Racing Concepts Clash. Congratulations. We'll look forward to seeing you next week at Auto Club, Dustin.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and hear from Jacob Chase, our second place finisher.
Jacob Chase, this is a Slingshot Racing booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, Jacob, I was just talking with Ellis before that last restart. This is the best run that we've seen you have here in the Slingshot Racing League. An awesome run tonight. You were up front for a large portion of the night. Talk us through your night. What was it like from the driver's seat?
I don't really. This was my first time on iRacing in about 2 months. I just picked it back up today. I've been taking a break, and then my whole goal was really to just survive the race. I was having trouble in practice earlier, wiping out, whatever, but I really just tried keeping the car straight. Worked out, I guess.
It definitely worked out. Not too bad for your first night picking it up for a while there. We saw a crazy 4-wide battle there coming to the line. Did you think that maybe you had a shot right there when you saw those two get together?
Yeah, I was kind of watching them throughout 3 and 4, and was wondering, like, yeah, I think they might wreck. I don't know. I know I had old tires, so I was kind of hoping on something like that to happen, but it happened. So got a good finish position.
Yeah, absolutely. You had a great run. You were really, really fast all night. I bet this is a big confidence boost heading into Auto Club, another 2-mile D-shaped oval next week.
Yeah, I love Auto Club too, so I'm super excited. It feels really good to be on the podium finally for once.
Yeah, man. Well, you were fast all night, ran really great. Any shout-outs you want to give before we let you go celebrate the second-place finish?
Well, yeah, just shout out to my teammate, Dan, who his wheel disconnected mid-race. That kind of sucks, and then you guys putting the race on,
All right, man. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you being here. Congratulations, bud, on a great second-place finish. That's Jacob Chase, second-place finisher tonight. Go celebrate this run, bud.
Thanks, guys.
All right, you heard from second place finisher. Now it's time to interview the winner, who we didn't know was going to win it until the final corner. Justin Wilson. This is Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy, my friend?
Yeah, I got a copy, boss.
Hey, man, congratulations on that win. I don't know if you saw that win coming until the final straightaway or not, but you got the job done. Let's just start with that. What were you thinking there? I know this was a crazier race than I think we probably expected. What were you thinking there on that final lap? Did you think you had a chance?
No, I restarted on the green-white checkered in 12th place. I had no shot at winning this. I don't know what happened. I just held the throttle down, closed my eyes, and when I awoke, here we are.
Man, that was quite a dream you had, and still dreaming. It looks like watching you do
I have
some
to go back and
donuts
watch
there.
it. I don't even know what happened. We came off. I know I didn't lift. And had the middle run. We were going down the back straightaway. I got a little squirrely little net code between my teammates there, but didn't lift. Going into 3, I just sent it down on the bottom. I didn't have the momentum off of 4, but so I looked over. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna be able to pull it. I looked back and they were gone, and I'm like, well, what just happened?
Man, that Margaritaville truck was just flying on that final restart. I'm surprised we made it to the white flag without an incident. I think we had a couple of close calls, but you mentioned it. Coming to the line, all hell broke loose, and you managed to get by several cars spinning, including Wesley Pistol and Patrick Colby, and you held on to it. How does this feel, coming off of the Apex Energy Series Xfinity Series campaign last season in Season 5? You came up just a little bit short in the championship. What does this do to kind of your overall prospects and your confidence headed into the regular season for Season 6 in this truck series?
I'm taking a different approach at it. The trucks are a little bit of a different beast than the Xfinity car. Xfinity car is more precision, be precise. The trucks is really, you play your cards right. So it's going to be a whole different strategy scheme this year. We'll see how it works out. So I'm going to pull that Chase Berry strategy pretty much the whole season. We're just going to go for it.
Go for it. We're going
to see how it goes. I mean, that's what we did on this one. I give all credit to Chase. We were talking about pitting, literally no reason to pit. We said, you know what, let's pit for tires. And obviously it worked because I just passed 12 cars with 2 laps. So we're going to stick with his strategy this year.
It was an impressive run, and man, what we might see this season from Justin Wilson, hunting his second championship. Now saying he's just going for it. You've been fast before, man. We're gonna be looking out for this. I'm excited to watch this over the course of this Apex Energy Truck season presented by Hank Thomas Performance. You got any shout outs before we let you go celebrate the victory, my friend?
Oh, no. I want to thank you guys, obviously, putting the show on. Great league. The drivers, man, our team, good group of guys. We were cutting up the whole race, man. It makes it entertaining, makes it fun to come race when you got a good group of guys you're running with. So
that's what it's about.
I want to thank those guys. You guys put the show on, and we'll see what happens moving forward.
Awesome, man. We'll be looking forward to it next week at Auto Club. We'll be expecting to see you up front there as well. Justin Wilson, the number 58, tonight's winner in the Sim Racing Concepts Clash. Justin, have a good night.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, man. Chris, this race, we knew it was going to be, we call it the Clash for a reason. It's a preseason race. It's an opportunity for some of these drivers to get their yips out, so to speak, racing around each other, to spend a little bit more time with each other out on the track before we get that regular season underway. And we definitely saw some yips tonight and some bumps along the way, leading to a handful of cautions. Definitely a more yellow show than we're used to seeing for slingshot racing. I think we'll probably have a return, hopefully, to normalcy next week, knock on wood. But just looking at the finishing order tonight, we talked to our top 3, but man, I got to point out Raymond Hanneman, the 85, brings it home to finish in the 4th position. Great debut in the Apex Energy Truck Series for him. Jacob Bradley, last season's champion, finishes 5th. I know we got some rap fans in the chat. He finished his 6th. Gotti Sobzak 7th. Hey, Nick DeCesare, great job in that 00 Sunoco Hank Thomas Performance truck in the 8th position. Chris, he moved up 23 positions after starting 31st tonight. So great job for him. Jeremy Gardner had one of the fastest trucks all night. Doesn't have the finish to show for it, I think. In 9th position, Rye Jones finishes 10th. I'll let you take us through 11th through 20th.
Yeah, a lot of great runs up there in the top 10. You mentioned another guy that ran really fast all night, Thomas Coonan right here battled back to finish 11th after those late race troubles that we saw with him and Tony Caputo. So, but a great run out of him. He showed a lot of speed. Steve Speedson 12th. Sean Johnson, we saw him up near the front on one of those late race restarts. He finishes 13th after starting 27th. Brady Floyd in his Slingshot Racing debut brings it home in 14th. James Danforth 15th. Matt Kuntz 16th. Patrick Colby, man, really, really tough turn of events right there coming off of turn 4 for him. Leading going into turn 3, and unfortunately crashed coming out of turn 4. Daniel Rowe in 18th. Chase Berry 19th, and Jay Haishman rounds out the top 20 finishers tonight.
Yeah, then you can see several guys who had trouble over the course of the night getting involved in at least one incident. Tony Caputo, we saw him have some net code issues towards the end of the race. Jamie Leach got caught up in a couple incidents. Patrick O'Toole, Paul Thomas in that number 42 car. Evan Pienta we saw at the eye of multiple storms. Josh Ward, Randy Bechtel, Wesley Pistol in 28th. Lee Campbell, Larry Poling, Chris Blassie through 31st. And then Dan Berg and Kyle Dewey, who had, again, all these drivers encountered some trouble over the course of the race. You can see several of them finishing at least one lap down. So I know they'll be looking for a better showing at Auto Club, and we mentioned it, Chris. That's coming up next week. It's the regular season opener for the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance. We're going to be looking forward to seeing a full field of hopefully 40 trucks on the starting grid at Auto Club, and it's going to be an electric start to the season. We're doing things different this season. Let's just go ahead and talk about it for those still watching or maybe watching the replay. We're not opening up at Daytona, and there's a reason for that. We're opening up at Auto Club, but the reason we're saving Daytona is it's going to be the final race in the regular season. It's going to be the final get-in race if you're going to make the first ever chase for the championship in Slingshot Racing League. We're going to have 12 drivers that make the chase. After 10 races, we'll reset the points, and we'll shoot it out for the final 5 races of the season to determine a champion. So this is something we've never done before. We're excited. Our drivers are excited, and I think it's going to create some pretty big moments for Slingshot Racing League over the course of this season, Chris. So I'm looking forward to it. Tonight we shook off some of the rust, but I think we'll be where we want to be next week. So we appreciate everyone tuning in. Any last words of wisdom before we shut it down for the evening, Chris?
I hope that, not that I hope, I believe that this was a bit of an anomaly tonight as far as some of the on-track hiccups that we experienced. But I think that some of the drivers were just letting it all hang out since this was a non-points race. Really looking forward to next week. Between the two tracks, Michigan and Auto Club, I personally feel like Auto Club puts on a much better show. I think that you'll see that next week. I think you'll see a lot of 3 and 4 wide action, a lot of multiple grooves of racing at Auto Club. Can't wait to get on track there, Southern California.
It is going to be a great season. Kicking off next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll go live at 8:20 on YouTube. We hope that you can tune in. We appreciate everyone who stopped by tonight, whether you were just watching or you were participating in the chat. We cannot thank you enough. You are what make the show go on. We thank you all to our partners, Apex Energy, Hank Thomas Performance, UD Awards, Sim Racing Concepts, Evan Pienta Designs. You've seen them scrolling across the bottom of the screen all night. We could not do it without them. And until next week, I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith in the booth for Slingshot Racing League. We'll catch y'all next Tuesday. Have a great week, everybody.